expressed a little bit of frustration about not getting the next title shot, and you said that it seemed like fans were dictating who gets which fight. Does that sort of frustration manifest itself into motivation in this?
Yeah, you know what? It's out of my control. Okay, it's not the first time this has happened. Second time, sadly. But it is what it is. I still love doing what I do. Okay, I love doing what I do, and fighting is something like I said, I enjoy it. So if the fans weren't, they didn't want to see me, then it is what it is. You just sit there and go, okay, what do I got to do to make the fans want to see that? And that's sort of where I'm molding my new stuff, is to make it where I can win, but yet the fans are happy with what I'm doing.
Sort of the second time in a row we've seen you come to open workouts and really interact with the fans. I mean, is that just part of your, your plan going forward, or is that you being in Texas? What is it?
The easiest part of my damn job. You know what I mean? Look, I get to do a 2-minute workout. Instead of them complaining that I did a 2-minute workout, they get 15 minutes of me. You know what I mean? And realistically, what do you think they'd rather see? Me hitting some pads, or would they rather see me interact with them? So that's really where my head's at, is that I want to get as much interaction with the time that I have with the fans. Definitely in this instance, you got, 100 people out there, and you answer those questions. Now they're going to go back and talk to 10 people. They're going to talk to 10 people. And so realistically, that's why I say it's humbling that all these guys want to sit here and get an autograph or get a picture. And that's why after we're done, I'm going to go back and make sure I can finish the guys that I didn't get, is because it's so easy to do that. And to sit here, because one day I know it's going to go. It's going to disappear. And whenever it does, I can look back and say I did everything I could to keep people happy.
We talked last week about this being the Big 12 rivalry, sort of the rematch. You said you've moved on from it.
Yeah.
Tyron clearly hasn't. Any conversations with him about the weigh-in attire we discussed last week?
Oh, yeah. No, I haven't talked to him. I've only seen him once. And, the week of the fight, I really try to keep my distance. It's not that I don't like the guy. I do. But it's starting to get into fight mode, competing mode, should I say. And move forward. Now, if they put us in the same exact room right now, then yeah, I would talk to him. I'm not going to have that awkward silence that some people do. I've been in fights that you're like, sup? And you're like, well, how you doing, man? And they're like, why are you talking to me? We're fighting in 3 months. I'm like, yeah, but that's 3 months away from now. So, but right now, yeah, I'm trying to sort of just keep my distance, get focused on what I need to do, make 170, 171. Oh, yeah. That's the only bad thing about non-title fights. You got to make 171. But, and then after the fight, if he wants to talk, have a beer, whatever, by all means, I'll do it.
How about yourself after this fight? I mean, do you feel like you have to get more vocal? You said just make it, I guess you think your performance can speak for itself, or do you feel like you have to get vocal and call for what you want?
Well, I'm going to call for what I want, but I'm not going to trash talk it. I'm just going to sit here and say, why does Connick get a title shot? We both beat him. Instead, we're not both getting a title shot. You know what I mean? We both beat him, and he beat a top 12 guy. Okay? He was 12th. You know what I mean? I've been fighting top 5 guys for the last 3 years. And people want to see knockouts. I get that. I do. But it's not going to happen every fight. Look at what's his face? Yeah, he knocked out Robbie Lawler knocked out who is the guy named
Roy McDonald?
No, not Roy McDonald. Before the Matt Brown fight. Who did he fight? Jake Ellenberger. Okay, he fought Jake Ellenberger, top 10 guy, but not a top 5 guy. Then he does knock out him, but he didn't knock out Brown either. He didn't knock me out 2 times. You know what I mean? So, it's just hard to get finishes, definitely whenever you're fighting this caliber of guys every time. And everybody's scared of my hands. Whenever I start moving forward and I throw my hands, their hands go up quicker than I can get a punch in, right? So that's why I've reverted back to low kicks and getting my wrestling started. Because what's going to happen, sooner or later, whenever I first got in UFC, they were scared of my wrestling. Okay? Now, sooner or later, somebody's going to get scared about the wrestling aspect, because that's going to start winning me fights again, right? Then that's whenever I can go back to knocking people out again. Because right now, I don't want to waste energy whenever I go like this and they're like, you know what I mean? That's just wasted energy. But whenever you do that and they do this, look at that. That's all real estate, man. Easy real estate. And sometimes I'm not even looking for it. I throw a punch, I'm like, my body just goes, ugh. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going for a takedown.
What do you feel is the biggest challenge that Tyron Woodley presents as a fighter in this matchup?
The way Tyron is. He's two different fighters. You know, in a lot of his fights, he's either a very aggressive fighter or he's a very defensive fighter. So when we're going through our training camp, we sort of had to train for two different Tyrons because we don't know which one's going to show up. I have a feeling which one's going to show up. The one that's going to be very aggressive. So that's when we train for first. Then we would throw in some rounds with him being very defensive, trying to lay traps, and trying to move and stay out of those. I'm really actually sort of grateful for this fight because it's really changed my striking. You know, there's some of the things that I'm going to be doing in the octagon is really going to be different than what I have in the past. There's still going to be combination flows and stuff like that, but foot movement, angles, those kind of things, I think those are going to be really important for this fight.
And you feel bottom line, knockout equals title shot?
If I get a knockout and I don't get the damn title shot, I'll be pissed. That's when I'll really be pissed. But, you know, win. Here's the thing. I'm still striking. You know, somebody was like, well, you know, are you going with that George sort of performance? I'm like, dude, I'm not jabbing a guy to death. You know what I mean? I'm throwing combinations. I'm looking like a kickboxer, and then all of a sudden I do takedowns. That's totally different than what he did, right? And so I keep the fans entertained because realistically, like I said, once the wrestling aspect gets thrown back into the mix, man, the sky's the limit for me, and that's what I'm really believe because then I start becoming more of a true mixed martial artist, and then that's whenever people are going, okay, we can't get up from him. Like we saw that with the Brown fight. You know, my jiu-jitsu's there. So they're sitting there going, okay, so not only can he wrestle, but he also has jiu-jitsu. Now you're sitting there going, okay, now I'm a triple threat instead of just a double threat.